Chelsea 2, Wolves 4. Another disaster at Stamford Bridge. And I don't really know what to say. I don't know where we go from here. Obviously, a bad afternoon. Boos at half time, boos at full time, boos for players coming off, boos all round in general. I think today was the day that I think a lot of the match going fans, I think today was the day where I think a lot of people just lost it, fed up with this, demanding change. It was, yeah, it's getting very toxic, and look, I don't blame people for feeling that way. It's very, very hard not to when, we've now dropped to 11th in the table. This is the first time in 45 years that Wolves have won at Stamford Bridge, and they thoroughly deserved it. And what can you say about Chelsea that we haven't already said before? Manager absolutely to blame. Don't make no mistake about it. Manager absolutely to blame. In terms of today and in terms of and in general, has to improve. There's no denying it. He said afterwards that everyone not good enough, himself included. And when you've got a manager coming out saying that he's not good enough, well, what does that mean for everyone else? And what does that mean when your manager's coming out saying I'm not good enough? The players aren't good enough. Everything from top to bottom at this football club, not good enough. We were promised best in class. We haven't got best in class in anything. The only thing we're best in class at is picking up fucking injuries. That's what we're best in class at. We're promised best in class, and we simply don't have it. So, there's a lot of places where anger can be directed. Manager, yes. Sporting directors, absolutely. And the football structure in general. Ownership, yes. Players, yes, as well. This is not just one issue. This is multiple issues. But today was absolutely abysmal. Within the first couple of minutes, we could have been a couple of goals down, cheaply giving the ball away. We actually end up going a goal up, and then within a minute or two, we've conceded. And then from that point onwards, we just weren't there. We weren't there. And you got the captain after, Ben Chilwell, coming out saying that they wanted it more than us. How can Wolves possibly want this more than we do? Why are we not wanting it? Why do we not want to be? Why are we not wanting it? Why are we not up for it? Why is there no desire? Is that because, we're all on 7-8 year contracts and it doesn't really matter how we play, we're still going to be here. And, it's going to be very tough to shift us. Like, I don't know what it is, but I think one thing is clear today, and this is what I'm talking about in terms of taking responsibility, in terms of as a manager, where's your in-game management? Where is that? All 3 goals come down the left-hand side, taking advantage of a lack of pace. There were ample warnings in that first half. That ball in over the top behind Ben Chilwell every single time. We were punished twice for it in the first half, and then we were punished again for it for the 3rd goal in the second half, and we still didn't sort it out. Still didn't sort that side out. Not only did the manager not sort it out, the players between themselves didn't sort it out. When something happens once or twice, maybe you think, fuck, I better sort that out. We're getting exploited here. This isn't working. We need to change that. Surely as players, you realise that on the pitch that they're getting in behind you time and time again. Surely as a manager, you realise that. Maybe drop a bit deeper, maybe switch something up. Don't just stand there and keep letting it happen time and time again and expecting any sort of different result. All 3 goals down that left-hand side. And it wasn't changed. Just watched it happen. And unfortunately, we all love Thiago Silva. The guy's 40 years of age. This guy can't play in a back 4 anymore. Cannot play in a back 4 anymore. Getting exposed time and time again. This can't keep happening. It's why Thomas Tuchel used a back 3. And unfortunately, if you're going to use Thiago Silva, it needs to be in a back 3. And maybe with the amount of goals we're conceding, I've seen a stat earlier. We've now conceded more goals than we've scored. We've conceded 39 goals this season, and we've scored 38. That is horrendous. Absolutely horrific to be conceding that amount of goals. It's unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. Not only have we got worse defensively, Silva can't play in a back 4 anymore, which is why Tuchel used the 3. And look, I think ultimately the writing's on the wall. Whether it's tonight, whether it's in a few weeks' time, whether it's after the cup final, or whether it's at the end of the season, I think right now it is very unlikely Poch is going to be manager next season. But similar accountability needs to be held for the sporting directors and senior management. If Pochettino goes, Winstanley needs to go, Lawrence Stewart needs to go. Heads need to roll, and heads must roll immediately. You know, short term, yeah, okay, you get an experienced coach in or whatever. You know, sort the defense out. Stop trying to play this tippy-tappy bollocks. Like, we're 3-4-1 down, and players are doing flicks like we're playing on the beach in Brazil. And we're winning this game. Why are you doing fucking flicks and tricks and stuff when we're losing 4-1? Sort it out. Sort it out. Don't do that bullshit when we're losing games, you know? And then, again, Poch doesn't help himself. Talks about selecting on meritocracy, yet he's afraid to drop 3 players that have not had a good league performance for a long, long time. You know exactly who they fucking are. Gallagher, Sterling. And, you know, those are the 2 main culprits. Caicedo's even been reasonably poor as well. It wasn't even hard to predict what Wolves were going to do today. And not hard to predict, and it's not hard to then set up to counterbalance it. And once again, the manager has failed with basic tactical nous and tactical nuance. Basic things, not doing them. Again, waits till we go 3-1 down to bring on Carney and Mudryk, 2 young players, you know, 2 young players, waits till we're 3-1 down to chuck them on. Where's the proactiveness? Why reactive? What difference are those changes going to make when we're 3-1 down? You make those changes when we're 2-1 down and we're still in the game. At 3-1, the game's gone. Why is everything reactive? Why is there no proactiveness? The fact that no changes were made at half-time is absolutely criminal. It is criminal that no changes were made at half-time. And I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. Sick and tired of this bullshit. Talking about selecting on meritocracy and all this, and yet the same, yet it's different standards for different players. Don't get me started on Raheem Sterling. I never want to see this guy in a Chelsea shirt ever again. It makes me sick seeing him. He's taking the piss out of us. 300 grand a week, more than that. And all he doesn't track back, offers nothing, runs into players. This is meant to be our senior professional. You know, meant to be the guy that wins us big games. Meant to be the guy that steps up when we need him. This guy does nothing. I'm sick of him. Get this guy gone. If you need to terminate his contract, if you're going to do that, if you're going to get rid of the manager, get rid of Winstanley, get rid of fucking Lawrence Stewart, get rid of Raheem Sterling. These guys are not good enough. Not good enough. And if we could, you know, it's if we could, you know, get rid of 3/4 of this squad, then they should be gone as well. It's I'm so fucked off with what we're doing at the moment, you know. And look, again, the structure's a massive problem, but let's not try and say players that actually are starting for us on a regular basis had been shit at their previous clubs before they came here. These guys that we've signed, these are some of the most sought after players across Europe, and yet they come here and they look like they've never played fucking football before. It's not like we've signed a load of that's not. Sterling is not class. He is not class at all. He was shit under Tuchel. He's shit under Pochettino. Sterling's done. He's done. You know, it's the double standards that, you know, is picked on meritocracy, but for Sterling it's fine. Doesn't matter how shit you are. You're just going to play all the time. It's nonsense. I'm sick of him. Absolutely sick of him. But like, the manager has obviously got to do better. The structure is poor. The structure is not good enough. That's the reality. But at the same time, I do believe that there's talented players in this squad. It's not like no one else wanted these players. Top clubs across Europe wanted these guys. These are some of the most sought after players, as I was saying, across Europe. You know, and the majority had something about them. Poch is definitely a large problem right now, but he is not the main problem. He is not the main problem until we get a proper sporting director, and until we bring some, you know, established professionals in that are ready to perform right now at a top level. Changing the manager is not going to make any difference at all. right now. You might get a bit of a bounce for a couple of games, but it's not going to solve the long-term issues until you have a top-class sporting director in place, until you stop just going on data and you use your fucking eyes as well. Then we might start to get somewhere. But if we just keep on going down this road, then it's going to be a long, long road. Things are going to get more toxic, and it's like it feels like the writing's on the wall. It feels like the beginning of the end. I think, for me personally, like, do I think the manager should go? I'm in two minds about it, because it doesn't really, like, what he's doing is not good enough, but at the same time, it doesn't make a huge difference in my opinion. And as I was saying in the preview, and as I was saying on other channels, like, the reality is this squad is set up for a back three. You know, whether we like it or not, I think we need to go. I think we need to go to the back three, because we're shipping goals like there's no tomorrow. We're leaking them left, right, and centre, and I think we need an extra defender. We need an extra defender on the pitch. So we're going to remain. Look, the Roman stuff is a little bit revisionist, because we were on the decline under him. But the biggest problem we've had is because of how many wholesale changes we have made in such a short space of time. But it's not the manager's not picking the players. It's the sporting directors and the ownership that have gone down this route. You know, that is the route that we've gone down, and they're going to be selecting a manager that is happy to go with that route. It's not like the manager said, go and sign these players. It's not about, an experienced manager doesn't have these players. This is the model that Chelsea are doing. It doesn't matter who the manager is. And people talk about bringing another manager in. What manager in their right minds is going to want to come to this circus? Who on earth would want to come and take over at Chelsea? No, why would anyone want that? Has anyone given a thought right now that, those that are clamoring for the manager to be gone, have they potentially not factored in the possibility that maybe Poch is desperate to be sacked so he can just get away from this absolute shambles? This right now is a team of terrified little boys. We're a team of little fucking boys. Who wouldn't want to run from this and keep running? Who would not want to run and keep running? Like, can you blame anyone? Why would anyone want to be anything to do with this football club right now and the mess that we're in? Why? It must be absolutely horrendous to be manager of Chelsea at this point in time. The club is run from top to bottom like an absolute fucking joke. By the way, guys, big up to everyone in the chat. As always, we've got big numbers in tonight. 37 likes. Only 37 likes, 120 people in the building already. Keep smashing that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. It'd be greatly appreciated. Let's bump these likes off. Bump these likes up, guys. We're only on 30. Let's get it to 50. No excuses not to hit 100 likes tonight. Keep it going, people. What are we saying in the chat? We were on a decline. We haven't competed for a Premier League title since we won under Antonio Conte. We won no domestic trophy since 2017 FA Cup. Yes, we got a Champions League and a Club World Cup and a Super Cup. Yeah, great. Thoroughly enjoyed those. But we have been nowhere near competing for the league as a side for coming up for 8 years now. We've been nowhere near. So let's not pretend we were on a decline. We were on the decline and the cups were papering over those cracks. And yeah, it's a nice, trophy's a great thing to paper over cracks with. But at the same time, something like this has been waiting to happen. Maybe not this bad, but it's been waiting to happen. People talk about Mourinho. Why would Mourinho come to Chelsea? Why would he come to Chelsea right now with the current situation? There couldn't be a less suited manager to Chelsea right now than Mourinho in terms of the makeup of the squad and all those sort of things. Mourinho is a win now manager. And this team is nowhere near ready to win now. It's the wrong with this team. I've been time I go to. We are up, down, but we're still. Look, you always support the team. Like, you're absolutely right to voice frustrations and say things that aren't good enough and whatnot. But ultimately, we all want Chelsea to do well. It's all a game of opinions. It's opinions at the end of the day. We might not like each other. We can agree, we can disagree, but ultimately everyone wants Chelsea to do well. And I don't know. I just think it's so poor right now. And it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating as well, because there are talented players here, but ultimately this is the same with the manager. as well. Same with the manager, in terms of the fact that what's not on the structure is the fact that not really a single player has improved since he's come in. If 2 or 3 were playing well, then okay, it's a little bit different and it's obviously a bit better, but they're not. The problem with upstairs is timing of decisions that they make, picking off data and just purely going off data and not going off the eye, and the picking of the manager. People call for the manager to go, right? Okay, fine. But unless the sporting directors go with the manager as well, then nothing's going to change. How can you expect these sporting directors that have selected 3 managers wrong now? You know, Potter was wrong. Lampard didn't work. And then obviously Pochettino is looking like it could be wrong. How can you trust these guys to pick the right person for the job next time round when they've got it wrong every single time they've done it? So until the sporting directors go, if you're going to get rid of the manager, you get rid of the sporting directors as well. You clear out the whole thing and you start again. If you just get rid of the manager, how can you put any trust in these guys to pick the right individual? It's a fucking shambles. Honestly, it is an absolute circus. And we've got lunatics in the fucking asylum. Honestly, that's what Sterling. Honestly, it makes me sick even thinking about that guy. By the way, big up to everyone. Little boy's son, but look, ultimately, it's so hard, isn't it? It's so hard because I think a lot of us, maybe not you, mate, but I think the majority of us were happy with the business in terms of the players that came in. But I just don't think many of us envisioned the reality of the situation that we're fucking useless, you know? And 16, 17 new players coming in, that doesn't happen overnight. You would expect some improvement from some players. The fact there's been no improvement from any players is a problem. I don't know how much say the manager has in the signings and whatnot. I really don't. Yeah, fair enough. Yes, big up, brother. Those players have lost confidence. I don't know if they've lost confidence, but I mean, I don't know if he said he won't make the top 6, but this is what sums it up for me, right? You know that you're going to lose football matches, right? Particularly at Chelsea right now. We know we're going to lose football matches, but it's the manner in which we're losing. Liverpool was atrocious. No shame in losing to Liverpool, but the way we lost was pathetic. Same again today. Way we lost was pathetic. No application. Where was everything? You got the captain coming out saying they want it more than us. How is that even possible? This is supposed to be young, hungry players with a point to prove. And you've got the captain coming out saying that Wolves wanted it more than us. How on earth can Wolves want it more than us? I can't do this anymore. Like Jurgen Klopp, I'm running out of energy. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. What is this? Yes, big up, brother. Me too. I feel sorry for us, to be honest. Players that lost, Poch clearly running out of ideas. The only thing good about us is the ladies' team. Yep. No one could compete with the levels those 2 clubs were. We're a cup team. We are a cup team. But, you know, the aspiration is to get back to winning Premier Leagues and challenging at the top end of the table. And the way that we've chosen, the route we've chosen to go down is not lending itself to going to that happening anytime soon. It's like we could still be a cup team. We're in a cup final. We're still in the FA Cup. Do I expect us to beat Aston Villa? No, I don't. But we could still be a cup team. We are a cup team. We're in the Carabao Cup final and we're still in the FA Cup. We are a cup team. Yeah, no, of course you would. Of course you would. No, I don't think anyone's denying that we wouldn't have the trophies back. Of course we would. But unfortunately, you know, the times have changed. This is a new Chelsea. Roman wasn't going to be here forever. And look, this could work maybe in the long run. But right now, the route that we've chosen to go down is not conducive to getting you good results in the short term. As I said before, the ownership is so fixated on the future, they've completely neglected the present. And now we're in this fucking massive mess. I mean, I'm not in the know or anything. I don't expect anything will change. I think they're still behind him. Yeah, you see some reports saying that, you know, they might consider they may be considering his position, but I don't expect anything to change right now. I think a lot of it's political as well, because the sporting directors decide that that Poch needs to go. then their heads will probably be rolling as well, because they're the ones that carried out the process and picked him. So, you know, a lot of it's political as well. They might not call for him to go because they want to save their own skin. Like that's how these things work. Unfortunately, that's how these things work. Yeah, big up to the women. Jose until end of the season. We can't be treating Jose like a fucking Gus Hiddink, but I mean, he probably would take it. These players are not good enough to get in the top. That's look. Look, this team is good enough to be a Europa League side. There's no denying that. We're good enough to be a Europa League team. I fully agree on that. I would have taken Richarlison instead of Sterling. I really would have done. We won a few. I think we won, what, 5? 04, 05, 05, 06. 14, 15 under Jose. We won 1 under Carlo. That was 4. Did we win 5? Oh, and Conte. We did win 5. They didn't. Yeah, they did pick Potter. Who picked? Well, Potter could have been. To be fair, Potter could have been prior to the sporting directors. But the point is, though, like it still remains. The point still remains that you can't trust the people in charge to pick the right people. You just can't. No, I'm not having Hansi Flick. The geezer's washed. I'm sorry, it's not for me. Enzo was playing better under Graham Potter. He absolutely was. Can't trust them, though. There's so much stuff coming in, guys. If you want to prioritize your comment getting read out, then please do use the super chat function. I can't read all of these. Unfortunately, because we'll be here all day, and I do want to get some things through. Big up, Pice, my guy. Hope you're doing well, bro. Hope you're doing well. We'll have to get you on again, mate. That's pretty soon. But yeah, big yourself up, brother. Back 4 we haven't played for years. No, we haven't. And look, everyone wanted to go to a back 4, and I get it, because it suited the players better, and we wanted to evolve away from a back 3. Not many teams play a back 3. I get that, but the reality is, still, with the squad that we've got, the back 3 still suits us better. It would suit our fullbacks better. It protects Silva getting an extra centre back in there. It tightens us up defensively, and at the end of the day, yes, it causes a bit of a problem in terms of, well, you have to either play Nkunku on the wing or you have to play him as a 9. It causes maybe a couple of issues there. But otherwise, I think it suits us much, much better. I think it suits us better. If you want to projects have any chance of working, yeah, no, this is the reality of the situation. Like, if these owners are genuine about a project, then whatever happens, providing you don't get relegated, you basically have to just run with it and see how it goes, because only then, exactly as you said, mate, only then will you know. That's the reality of the situation. Like, you can't come in as an ownership and say we want a long-term project and then within 2 years go through 4 managers. Like, that's not it. What the one thing that we need right now as a football club more than anything is stability, and that is the one thing that we haven't got. And it looks like, well, definitely at the end of the season, I feel, maybe before, that we are heading down the route of another managerial change and yet more instability. No, Lewis is not going to match Sterling out yet. Agreed. If we don't sack him now, season is done. Mate, we're not in the FA Cup final, but yeah. Yeah, we've got a tough run coming up. There's no denying it. There's loads of stuff coming in, guys. I can't read all of this, but yeah. 185 in the building. Guys, let's get this to 100 likes. Come on, people. 72 likes. There should be way more likes on the stream right now than there is. 185 in the building. Big numbers tonight. Let's get the subscribers up as well. Guys, we're 37 subscribers away from 7.8k. I think that's attainable tonight. That is definitely attainable tonight. So make sure you are smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel. Let's get it done, people. How can anyone have faith in this board picking the right manager? They can't. I don't know. Look, ultimately, it wasn't my first choice. Openly hold my hands up. It wasn't my first choice. But then the more that it rolled around and the more that it came around, I sort of thought, right, okay, it looks like a decent fit for this stage of the project with Chelsea in terms of Poch, a guy that knows the Premier League, a guy that's worked with young players before. He's got a good track record of developing youngsters. And you think that might work for us. Right now, it just hasn't. It simply has not worked. That is the reality of the situation. It simply hasn't worked. Not enough players have improved. Poch's tactics and in-game management are poor. It's just so bad. It's 45 fucking years since Wolves won here. 45 years since they won. Like, it's not a good situation to be in. It's dreadful. Look, this today was just totally unacceptable. It's dreadful from the players and the manager. To have the audacity to pull up at Stamford Bridge today with this display after the thrashing we got in midweek is unacceptable. Barring his assist, Caicedo was awful. Absolutely awful today. Giving the ball away countless times in dangerous areas, fouling players in dangerous areas. And then Enzo's vulnerabilities in the double pivot are being absolutely exposed. Gusto's was half asleep most of the game. Gallagher absolutely fucking clueless today. And the manager's picking these players. The managers can see that they're shit. Yet most of these guys are just getting full games fucking week in, week out. Where's the accountability? Where is the accountability at the moment? It just isn't there. Potter didn't even have a pre-season. And it's just madness. It is absolute madness. I just don't understand it. Look, to be honest, I don't think there's going to be any. I don't think there's going to be any change, people. Not soon, anyway. Not soon. He'll be in a dugout on Wednesday night. If we lose Wednesday night and go out the cup, I think we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. Yeah, and they're not bang average footballers. For whatever reason, Poch can't seem to coach the double pivot with Caicedo and Enzo. For whatever reason, he can't do it. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why he can't do it. It makes no sense, does it? This doesn't change anything. It literally makes no sense whatsoever. And do you know what it is as well? Like, the thing with sacking the manager, right, is that it's not even about whether he deserves it or not. It's just such a pointless action right now, in my opinion. It's just a pointless action because all we do again is the whole thing just gets reset and we go back to zero again. And then we do another round of some sort of interim manager. We do another round of a fucking Lampard or something. And then we do another round of fucking Lampard. And then it's followed by an exhaustive search, which then culminates in multiple candidates fucking rejecting us. And we just keep rinsing and repeating. It's just a pointless action. If we're serious, then we need to change what we're doing. We need to change what we're doing. How many times, right, has the manager called for needing experienced heads in the team? We don't have any of them. We needed a goal scorer in January. I get it that, it perhaps wasn't the easiest position to bring in. But we don't bring anyone in and we let one go. I'm not saying that Brogy is the be all and end all, but we do you know what I mean? I don't get it. For the first time, I'm saying Poch, I'm not going to lie, but seriously, guys, what manager is going to sort this mess out? Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's the lesser of two evils. Do you just keep someone who's clearly struggling and not getting a tune out of these players? Or do you go for something different? Like, do you just try and stick with it and ride it out? We can't, as a fan base, every single time things go wrong, default reaction, get rid of the manager and constantly tear it up and start again. The only reason that worked before was because, one, the Premier League was less competitive, and two, we had a squad that was ready to win. And as long as you had a competent manager, then we were pretty set. That's different now. Yes, big up to Top Dog RLG. Thank you for the super chat, greatly appreciated. Do you think the board actually has the balls to sack Winstanley and Stewart and change the club strategy, or will the circus continue? I'll be honest, mate. I'm not sure. I think the circus will just continue. I don't think they've got the balls to sack Winstanley and Stewart. I'd love to be wrong on that, but I think their actions would suggest otherwise. I think it really would. So for me, all right, you can get rid of the manager, but unless you get rid of the sporting directors along with the manager, nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change until that happens and a proper footballing structure is in place. But at the same time, as I said, what's going on upstairs does not have an impact on Poch not being able to improve any of these players, of lacking a basic tactical identity, of making the same mistakes every single week, of not changing things in game that need changing. The structure is not responsible for that. There's only one person responsible for that, and that's the manager. What make of the fans leaving the bridge early today? Entirely up to them. I always stay to the end, but I can fully understand why people are leaving when you see what's being served up and what's on offer at the moment. So yeah, it's everyone's choice. I would never leave early, but that's just me. No, the season's not done. The season's not done because you've got the cup final still. Okay, which looks like, right now you think, well, we're never going to win that. We're still in the FA Cup and, we're still playing to get in the Europa League. So the season's not done, but, it very much feels like it's heading in that way. And if you if you're going to sack the manager, you do it before the cup final. If you were going to do it, you do it before the cup final, because if you lose the cup final and wait till afterwards, there's nothing to play for. So what is the point in getting rid of the manager? That is my point. Yeah, but I don't know if Jose probably would come back to the end of the season, but I don't think that's a way to treat a manager, a legend like that, to bring him in as a fucking interim. Those who land it right now, change now, or we're fucked. Yeah, look, to be honest, as I was saying, like, if you're going to do a change, you do it before the cup final. Like, you do it before the final. Otherwise, it's pointless. Otherwise, it's completely pointless. Mate, I do look. It's hard. It's hard when you go to the games and you're invested in the club and whatnot. Like, I want to back this. I want to believe in it. But right now, it's becoming really, really difficult because I'm not seeing any improvement, and it's quite hard to back something when you're not getting anything to back at this point in time. Do I think the manager should be sacked? I can understand why people think that and respect their opinion. Is it the right thing to do? I personally think not. And yeah, I'm critical of the manager. Absolutely deserves criticism. But do I think changing the manager is the answer? No, I don't think that's the answer. Do I think we should stick with it? Probably, because I just think there's such a lack of alternatives out there, and I can't trust these guys to get the next one right. Well, there's so much coming in, guys. Sorry, I can't keep up with all this. But yeah, look, it's just very, very, very irritating. Because I don't know. You look at, I just don't know. You just look at it and you just think, well, what needs to change? You look at Graham Potter as well, for example. It's he didn't even have a pre-season. Didn't have a pre-season. In the end, he had to go. Of course he did. But in hindsight now, I look back and I think, well, why did he have to go? Because there's been no improvement in quality. He had no pre-season to work with anyone. And then his work was undermined as well. A lot of injuries. 30-plus man squad full of different profiles. And no manager was making any sense of that mess last season. So I think he was mistreated for sure. And I think a lot of the same problems, we didn't see the real Potter once. And that could never exist through that mess. So for me, look, if he'd stayed, we'd either be better for it or we'd be the same. I don't know. Is it a shame we didn't get to see he wasn't perfect? Is it a shame that we didn't get to see him? I don't know. But look, I just think there's just no surprise at how shit we are right now. Nah, brother, I don't think there's any danger of that. I don't think there's any danger of us suddenly turning up on Wednesday and being good. I wouldn't bank on that. I wouldn't bank on that. Everyone blames Poch as if we have a squad of Galacticos. No, look, but what is on the manager, as I've said, is not addressing basics in game. The fact that hardly any, next to none, if any players have improved under his leadership, under his management. The fact we're making the same mistakes over and over again. The fact that we are conceding so many goals right now, leaking goals left, right, and centre. All these things are unacceptable. All of them are unacceptable, and they are all on the manager. They are on the manager. That is the reality of the situation. It's it's not good enough. It absolutely isn't good enough. I just don't know. I don't know what the answers are. That's the biggest problem. What are the answers right now? Because I don't know. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are. You know, when you got senior players like Ben Chilwell coming out questioning the desire as well, that's a massive problem. You know, yes, he's been poor since he's come back in. He's not showing any leadership. You know, it's worrying. It is very, very worrying. No one knows how to. No one knows what the answers are. No one knows what's being asked of them. It's you know, we've lost to Wolves twice, Liverpool, Middlesbrough, Everton, United, and Newcastle in the last 3 months, maybe a bit less. Yeah, I mean that's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. You know, away form is poor. We're 11th in the league now. Again, the gap's increasing back to those European places. We were 3 or 4 points behind West Ham. Luckily, they lost today, but obviously United won as well. So that sets us back a bit further. Well, that would be nice. I haven't got one at this point in time. So yeah, if they're giving away for free, then I will happily snap one up. Absolutely, I'd be absolutely delighted to do that. Well, I say delighted. Chilwell's not showing leadership. No one's showing any leadership. That's the problem. What's it all about? Look, I think ultimately way too many changes have been made far too quickly. Far too quickly. Really annoyed me. They wanted it more. Yeah, that's what I said after the game on Chelsea Fan TV. Why is no one, you know, digging each other out on the pitch? Surely experienced players, you can see the ball's going over Chilwell every single time. That's how 3 of their goals were scored down that side. And yet no one did anything about it. No one looked at that and thought, manager didn't look at it and think, oh, we better change that. No one on the pitch was aware of that. Where's Chilwell's awareness? Where's Sterling's awareness? Where's like the centre-halves awareness thinking, guys, this is happening time and time again. We need to fix this up. Why is no one fixing that shit up? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Yes, big up. I'm not happy with us losing. The reason why we lost is because our players didn't turn up. Well, they didn't turn up, and the manager was poor today as well. He was absolutely awful. Poch has not said we couldn't get in the top 6. If someone can find me that quote, then fine. But I have absolutely not seen that quote. They don't talk on the pitch. No, they don't. They don't. It's just a fucking mess, is what it is at the end of the day. It is a huge mess. And I don't know what the answers are, but as always, it's more questions than answers. And I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. I don't understand what is going on with this team right now. You know, I just don't get it. What is the plan? What's the plan at the moment? The plan's not working, and yet we are continuously going down the same route. You know, we're not changing anything. We're not learning from our mistakes. Defense is awful. Maybe we do need to go to a back 5. Maybe we need to go to a back 5. We need to tighten up. We need to get more solid, and then we start from there. Solid foundations. At the moment, we've got fucking liquid foundations. You know, we're like a sieve at the back. It's so easy to just like everyone's just going through us. Honestly, letting in so many goals. 4 goals at home to Wolves, by the way. Should we just let that sink in? 4 fucking goals at home to Wolves. What is that? What is that about? That's 8 goals conceded in 2 games. There should have been changes at half-time today. Why were there not any? Why were there not any changes at half-time? You know, as I said, it's, you know, and then Poch is, you know, saying after the game, these comments here, which I'll bring up on the screen now. Have you seen our run of games coming up? If we can't deal with the pressure at home to fucking Wolves, Pochettino, the main problem was that we felt the pressure and the stress to win, to play well, to perform. We didn't have time when Palmer scored to build our momentum in the game and to dominate and play easy and feel confident. Brother, the main problem was we felt the pressure and stress to win at home to Wolves. Well, what are we going to be like when we go to Aston Villa on Wednesday night? What are we going to be like when we go to Selhurst Park? What are we going to be like when we go to Man City? What are we going to be like when we go to Brentford, Arsenal? You can't deal with the pressure at home to Wolves. We're fucked then. Absolutely fucked. Long day for us. Long day. Can't deal with the pressure at home to Wolves. Am I going mad here? How is that possible? We can't deal with the pressure, but and then you look at the fixtures coming up. I mean, seriously, if we can't deal with these sort of games, how are we going to deal with the big boys? The answer to that is we simply aren't. We are simply not going to. It's a massive problem. It's a massive problem. I don't know. I don't know what we do, but it's clear that, there's got to be equal responsibility from top to bottom of this football club. Equal responsibility. How Poch thought a 60-year-old Silva covering for Chilwell on that left side was a good idea. Yeah, it's poor. And then midfield should be helping out there as well. They should absolutely be helping out. I don't know. I don't know what... The manager today was clueless. He just stood there, wasn't doing anything. Changes were too late. Everything at this football club is wrong right now. And, yes, the team, the players, they need support. They do need support. I just don't know. I don't know. I just don't know I don't know what we do about this. Like, guys, what do you think we do about this? What do you think we do about it? I mean, I'd happily support Poch if I saw any form of improvement. Yeah, no. Look, I absolutely hear it. And you have to have something to back. And right now, there doesn't look like there's anything to back. Guys, 151 in the building still. Keep smashing that like button. 106 likes. We need to let's get a few more. Let's get a few more locked in. Let's get this up to 100. Let's try and get this to 150 likes if we can. Keep subscribing to the channel as well if you are new round here. It would be greatly appreciated. Agreed. Only excuses from Poch. Someone needs to say you are yes, big up to the dearest devil for the donation. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, we are. We are rotten from top to bottom. There's no denying it. There is no denying it. Rotten from top to fucking bottom. That's the reality of the situation, people. We are fucked. Yep. Hope for the best and expect the worst. Absolutely agree. I don't know. I don't know what the club is anymore either. When you see comments like that, we can't deal with the pressure. I understand that this is a young team and stuff, but maybe dealing with pressure of going to big games like Anfield or whatever and whatnot. But you look at it, it's a home game against Wolves. No disrespect to Wolves. They're a mid-table side, decent side, good players. How are we feeling pressure in this game? Yes, we needed a response from Wednesday. We didn't get it. We go 1-0 up, and then from that point onwards, the game was an absolute horror show. Absolute horror show. What do we do? What do we do about this? I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. They're making it impossible for the fans to keep putting up with these shit performances. You think they show some fight? There was no fight. And this is the thing, right? I think someone in the chat mentioned it earlier. You can accept losing, right? But what you cannot accept is weak, pathetic performances when you're losing as well. That is the biggest issue right now. I can accept that we're going to lose games, but I can't accept the manner that we've lost these last two games in, because it is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. It's a major problem. And look, I'm very concerned about the short-term trajectory of the club. The squad is massively flawed. It's going to need more than a few tweaks to fix this. And look, let's be honest, there is no quick fix to this. Who would want to manage us? Who would want to join us? Who would buy these players? This is a massive, massive problem. This is a massive problem. Like, no one's going to want these players. Who's going to want to join us? Who's going to want to manage us? In the mess that we're in right now, there's a very short list on all three of those things. That is the reality of the situation. A very, very short list on all three of those things. Mate, I was close to buying tickets for the home game against United. Not going to spend that kind of money and flight tickets to watch this garbage. I don't blame you. Like, in the stadium today, they're like doing some announcements at half time. Some people, like, there was a couple of people that had flown in from Japan to watch that, and I'm thinking, fuck me, you've flown in from Japan to watch that shit show. That is honestly, they should be refunded. Those people, absolutely fucking disgrace. Do you think the higher-ups underestimate the importance of the manager's role? And is what we're seeing on the pitch a symptom of the players adopting the same point of view? I've got no idea, but something's missing. Something is, from the training pitch to the football pitch, something is not getting through. They're clearly either not understanding the instructions, or they are understanding but are incapable of carrying them out. Or they think the instructions are shit and they're just trying to freestyle it themselves. I don't know what the problem is. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what the answer is. But, you know, I just don't know what I just don't know what the situation is. It's I don't know. People want, they want performative change at the club. They want that. But the reality of the situation is that this is no longer an overnight fix. Whether you change the manager or not, the people above have created an almighty mess. The people above have created a huge mess. This is not an overnight fix. This is not how it used to be, where if the manager was struggling with the squad, you get rid of him, bring another one in, and the players were more than good enough. That's not the case anymore. That is not the case anymore. And, if people are still blaming the board for sacking Tuchel, and then they seemingly can't see the issue and wanting them to continue to sack coaches every 6 months. It doesn't make sense. We've adopted a ridiculously lopsided approach in recruitment, and we've handed way too much power to incompetent people rather than buying one best-in-class sporting director. We have brought in two average sporting directors and given them way too much power, and now we've created an almighty mess, which is no longer an overnight fix. That is the crux of the issue in itself, is that we have given far too much power to average people. The most important thing we should have done was to get a top-class, a best-in-class sporting director, like we were promised, best-in-class. That is what we were promised, and we haven't seen it. We have not been given best-in-class like we were promised in the sporting director role. Yes, Michael Edwards, we couldn't get him. We couldn't get him. It's a huge problem, and the hierarchy's decision-making is largely what's led us to this point. So why on earth are people trusting them to make further decisions that actually have even greater importance than the decisions they've already made? Vivell left because he wasn't being listened to. I think he wanted to keep Joao Felix. He didn't feel he was being listened to. I don't know if he was opposed to the hiring of Pochettino or not. But yeah, it's long for us. It's major issues at this football club right now. We are in big trouble. No, he didn't. And Nkunku played as a 9 today. Poch said that he's not good enough at the moment. He said that no one's good enough at the moment. That is the reality of the situation. He's been honest about that, and that's fair. No, no one's gonna come to this shit show. No one's gonna come. Because he was fuming that he got taken off, and he was probably pissed off with his performance as well, because he was poor today. Other than a great pass for the goal, he was awful. And Nkunku was fuming. They should all be fucking fuming. You know, Sterling particularly was booed, was heavily booed when he came off, and it was a massive, massive problem for him. He was awful today, and do you know what? Again, another one that just not good enough, not good enough, and you expect so much more, so much more. Um, you know, Sterling is shit. He is absolutely shit. You know, I just he's on 300 grand a week. He was booed off the pitch. Like how he starts every single game right now is absolutely beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. And you know, he missed an absolute sitter he missed a sitter today as well, by the way. And he's insulting every Chelsea fan the way that he carries himself. Paid more than 300 grand a week. He gives the ball away like no business. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. You know, and I'll be honest, Mudryk was more productive than Sterling when he came on. He was more productive. All right, didn't do an awful lot, but he was more productive than Sterling was. Double standards with Sterling makes me feel ill. This guy should be nowhere near the starting 11. Nowhere near. Nowhere near at all. I'm sick of it. He should be nowhere near it. It's double standards and it's taking the piss out of the squad. It really is. Why should it be? Oh, you've got to, you've got to do this and that or whatever. It's honestly, I don't know what the answers are, but like Sterling should be nowhere near this football team, nowhere near it, and yet he seemingly starts every single fucking week without fail. Doesn't matter how shit he is. It's a huge problem. It's a massive problem. And I don't. He was all right. Yeah, he gave the ball away a few times, but like he was better than fucking Sterling. And I know that shouldn't be the barometer that we're setting on. But it's Sterling. All he does right, he just runs into people, headless chicken, runs into people, and doesn't offer anything to this team. He doesn't offer anything to this team. It's a bit of. Oh, that's fake, by the way. That was a fake. Almost fell for that. That was a fake there with a little CFC Pike rather than Pice. Yeah, fake. Almost fell for that there. We can't start. It's a problem. It's a problem. It is a problem. I just look at it and I think, one, why has Poch binned the preseason tactics for no reason? Players constantly playing out of position, non-existent in-game management, no flexibility in tactics or formations, and for me, seemingly zero effort to try and win over the fan base. Mate, he's shit. At City, the system carried him. The system carried him at City. This was always going to happen. When you take Raheem Sterling out of a world-class setup and not having world-class players around him, he missed loads of chances at City. But because they created so many chances, the fact that he missed 3 or 4 didn't really matter because he'd get 6 or 7 chances in a game and he'd stick a couple away. You don't get that at Chelsea. He's not influencing this game. There's a reason why City were happy to let him go, because he was doing his powers, like he was on the decline. And we thought it'd be a good idea to play 50 million for him. He's not. Sterling is shit. I'm sorry. He's crap. He's crap. It's simple as that. What has he done at Chelsea that warrants him to be the club's top paid player and starting on a regular basis? Absolutely zero. He shouldn't be here next season. He simply shouldn't be. He's not good enough. He is not good enough. That is the reality of the situation. Raheem Sterling is not good enough. Sterling's silly stepovers and running into players are just lazy. Doesn't track back, just watches play passing by. You know, he's not the only one, but the fact is that he's meant to be a senior pro, highest paid player at the club, and doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't give a fuck. Sterling is still our most creative outlet other than Palmer. He starts because it's a safe. He starts because it's a safe selection. That's why. When managers are under pressure, they always do it. They always do it because they always go safe. We saw it with Tuchel when it was time when Aspilicueta kept starting when he shouldn't have been, and he was keeping Chalobah out at his expense. Then you know it's the same thing. Managers when they're under pressure play it safe. It's just a massively, massively uninspiring team selection by keep picking Sterling. Sterling hasn't scored an open play since October. It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, no, he was. Sterling wasn't really making things happen at City. He was just the one that was in the right place at the right time to finish the moves off. I'll bring in Michael Elise from Palace to name one off the top of my head. And yeah, it's an issue. Yeah, look, not delivered what was expected, but these guys, Caicedo's 21, right? He's had one season of good Premier League football under him at Brighton. A very talented player. I don't have any issues with Caicedo. I think he's going to be a top player for us. Right now, it's not working for him. Confidence seems low. The setup in the midfield is all wrong. Enzo's got to play deeper, yet Poch keeps playing him further advanced. For some reason, he can't seem to coach an Enzo Caicedo pivot. Enzo's proven that he's got good he's played good performances for Chelsea. I think one thing that will make a big difference for Enzo and Caicedo, whenever Romeo Lavia decides that he's fit again, and whether he actually exists as a person or not, I think that will make a massive difference. The thing is, Caicedo 21, Enzo 22. Yeah, Enzo's a World Cup winner. You know, there's experience there, but, still young. The thing with Sterling is he's a finished article. Enzo and Caicedo will get better. Sterling's not going to get any better. He's just going to get worse. So that's why I'm more patient with these guys, because they've been brought in for not just now. No, it doesn't mean they're going to become. There's no guarantee they're going to become class players at all. Well, who else are you going to start then? You're going to play no one in midfield then, because Gallagher is regressing at the moment. Chukwuemeka is probably our best midfield player right now. The only one that picks the ball up and drives with it from midfield. Or if you don't play Enzo and Caicedo, then who do you play in midfield? These guys are going to play. Yes, they need to do better. Absolutely, they need to do better. But at the same time, the way that the team's being set up and the way that the manager's using them is not getting the best out of them either. That is the reality. But yeah, those are the reasons why at the moment Poch is in big trouble, because he's not giving us anything. He's not giving us anything. If you guys don't like the video, then Chelsea will buy 16, 18-year-old Brazilian wonder kids for profit without... Well, we're already doing that. We are already doing that. But yeah, guys, keep running the likes up, by the way. 117 likes. Let's get this to 150 if we can. We were looking at him before the World Cup, like a number of teams were. And I think it's probably fair to say that the World Cup certainly accelerated our interest, and we certainly acted in that January, because if it had gone to the summer, we weren't going to get him. As simple as that. Enzo's a sort of player that I think will still do well for Chelsea, but he's someone that I think would be an exceptional player at Real Madrid, for example. He's got all the attributes. Right now, he's not performing to the level that people want or expect from him. But a lot of that is it's not just down to him. The way that the team's set up and the way that the manager's utilising him is not getting the best out of him. I feel like Enzo and Caicedo can't play as a two. They can play as a two. It's just for whatever reason, Poch can't seem to coach the pivot and can't seem to set them up in a way that is conducive to helping the team. I don't know why. I don't know why. I would back Madrid because I think he's an excellent winger and he's a manager to believe in him. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, like, this is the route we've gone down. So you might as well just play these guys. Just play them. Play your Mudriks, play your Maduekes, play your Palmers, Enzo, Caicedo. Play these guys. You know, we've bought them. They're on long-term contracts. Just play them. I don't know if short-term works in football anymore. You know, I really don't think it does. I think those short-term days are gone, in my opinion. But ultimately, you know, if you're going to sack the manager, you need to change the model as well. Because bringing in the new manager under the same model is not going to make any difference, or it's going to make a negligible difference. So you either, as you say, mate, you either play these guys and improve them and accept that, you know, things are going to be tough for a couple of seasons, or as you say, you have to sack it off and you start again and you go down a different route. Because right now, like, we have to add experience. We have to add experience. I don't just mean experience for the sake of it. I mean ready-made players that are ready to perform at a top level now. You know, and that for us right now is not good. I don't know. I certainly think there could be players that could well be considering their futures. I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to say. I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to say at all. But I don't know. It's this. Maybe they will. But the problem is, though, we're not gonna. Very few of these players we're gonna get. We're gonna get much more money than we paid for them in the first place. And it's up to the manager to improve these guys. Overspent, assuming we'd qualify for the Champions League. Yeah, look, we've overspent on players. There's absolutely no denying that, which is why now there's a desperate scramble to sell these academy products for pure profit. Look at Caicedo and the Ecuador national team. He plays in a 3-man midfield, gets goals and assists as a number 8. And yeah, no, he does. The setup's not helping Caicedo either. You know, look, it's not these guys' fault that they cost the amount of money they did. Look, they need to be supported. Tearing players down and constantly, you know, putting them down is not helpful. It isn't helpful at all. The board had eyes on Enzo and Caicedo as assets rather than players. Well, I don't think who's going to pay more than £115 million for Caicedo. I don't think they are. People aren't going to suddenly pay like 130 million quid for him in a few years' time. And Caicedo is one that should be here for a number of years and will be a massive player for us. No, that's ridiculous. The guy has got ability. He's got the credentials to do well. He's a confidence player. He needs to play games. It is the reality of the situation. But he's the least of our problems right now. You know, the least of our problems. I believe in him. I think he's a good footballer. I think he'll go on to be a very good footballer. Whether that's at Chelsea or not is another conversation. But again, you buy these guys, you invest in them. It's up to you to make it work. Arsenal wanted Mudryk. You know, other teams wanted Mudryk. It's not like we've just signed someone from nowhere that no one was interested in. Like, a lot of these players we signed, top clubs across Europe were also interested in them. So, look, for me personally, I think Mudryk is a good player. You know, he's struggling right now, for sure. Hopefully, we get some experienced players. We need quality. We need ready-made players right now. I mean, Newcastle aren't doing particularly well this season. Howe obviously did well. But again, look, you're looking at these things, and this is all starting at different points. You know, no one's starting from a position like Chelsea was starting in. Look, what I would say, out of those 3 managers, if any of those were at Chelsea now, honestly, none of them are doing better. None of them are doing any better. In the current scenario, none of them are doing better. And that's not to say that Poch is doing a good job, but none of them are doing better. That for me is the reality. Surely players don't become bad overnight. No, they don't become bad overnight. We haven't got bad footballers. It's just whatever's happening right now is not working. As simple as that. It's not working right now. And we need to get to the bottom of why it's not working. But mate, we're not in a position to get a title every 3 or 5 years, and we're not like Ancelotti would never come back to Chelsea in this current guise, and Mourinho would never come back with things how they are right now. That's the reality of the situation. Get them all out, Winstanley and Stuart Toole. Yeah, this is what I've been saying earlier. Like, if you're going to get rid of the manager, the sporting directors have to go as well. Simple as that. The sporting directors also have to go. Where are these wonder kids from Brazil? We might as well play them. Well, we haven't. They're all on loan. What else is there? The setup is poor. It is poor. It's very hard. It doesn't matter how good you are to function in a dysfunctional team. It's very difficult to function in a dysfunctional team with a lack of identity, no proper tactical setup. The players don't know what to do, and that comes from the manager as well. Yes, they should be taking more responsibility on the pitch themselves, of course. Everyone's got to take responsibility, but ultimately, if you're not set up in the best way to get the best out of the players, then that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a major problem. No, we can't keep changing manager, but at the same time, you can't just blindly back something with no signs of improvement either. So yeah, the fact Bayern Munich were considering Mudryk before the transfer window shut on Thursday. Yeah, look, the fact is that unfortunately the Abramovich era has just bred just a bunch of spoiled and entitled Chelsea fans that throw their toys out the pram every time something goes wrong. The reality is football's cyclical. Everyone goes through a down period. And right now, we're going through a tough time. Like every top club has had to go through. And look, we don't like it. None of us think it's acceptable. But the sense of arrogance to suggest that we shouldn't have to go through this is ridiculous. Is ridiculous. Well, if they're going to sack him, then they need to do it before the cup final, because afterwards there's nothing to play for and there's no point. Don't want him to go, but it needs to happen. Maybe. I hope Pochettino. Well, I don't know what's going on. They better be in training tomorrow. But this is not a finished article player, and this is why I get onto Sterling so much, because he does exactly the same things. And when Mudryk was starting to run again in December, he was good. He was scoring goals, he was assisting, he was a threat. And then for whatever reason, he couldn't get back in the team. Yes, his footballing IQ needs to improve. Yes, he's got a lot to learn still, but this is not a finished article player. This is someone that's not even played 100 senior games of football. And so this is why I've got more patience with him, because there's a lot of potential there and there's a high ceiling to improve to. Whereas with Sterling, the guy's shit every week. He's not going to get any better. He's the highest paid player at the club, and he's an experienced international, experienced professional who's been there and won it all. And people are having to go at the younger players. Like for me, it doesn't make sense. No, they don't. And people go on about class of '92, right? And fair enough, but they forget that team had Eric Cantona, had Roy Keane, Steve Bruce, Pallister at the back. Like, this was full of players that were experienced professionals to help these kids. We haven't got any of that. We haven't got any of that at all. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, it's a really difficult one, because starting again every 6 months is achieving absolutely nothing. That's not going to achieve anything. So, but at the same time, when you can see there's a lot of problems, he's losing a lot of the fans, there's a difficult decision to be made. And as I said, like, do you give him the cup final, or do you cut your losses now, bring someone else in, try and win the cup final and go to the end of the season? But ultimately, I think going with an interim, you set yourself back even further. I think when push comes to shove, unless we keep losing and just keep being utter shit, and until European football becomes in grave danger, whatever competition it might be, then for me, I would probably we need to stick it out to the end of the season. I don't know if we're going to get there, but somehow we need to do that and then just come to a parting of ways at the end of the season, halfway through the 2-year contract. That's what I would do. Defensively we were better under Graham Potter. There's absolutely no denying that. Defensively, under Graham Potter, we were better. No, we're not going to bring Potter in again. No, that's not on the people upstairs. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, until the structure changes upstairs, very little is going to change. Very little is going to change on the pitch. Very little is going to change on the pitch. Now, yes, you might get someone that will have a more would get maybe a bit more a better tactical setup, sure. But for me personally, I don't see how bringing another manager into this mess that we are right now makes us any better. You're not going to get a top caliber manager, and what manager, is going to want to come in and work in these circumstances? They're just not. They just absolutely aren't. I don't know what she was referring to. Maybe it's quite obvious, but that's not great when that's happening. That's not great at all. I don't know is the answer to that. I've got no idea. Yeah, he did, but that's because we had a team capable of it. That's because we had a squad capable of doing it. And it was a squad that was ready to win now with top class players. We don't have that now. We don't have that. This team's not ready to be successful. So how can we moan that it's not successful? And we all know it's not good enough to be successful right now. So for me, yeah, it's fine. You don't like whether you want to accept anything other than success or not. It's much easier when the team's ready to win instantly, like it was for most of the time under Roman. The reality is right now, this team's not ready to win anything. This team's not ready to compete at the level required. So it's all very well saying that, but it's like, if your team's capable of winning and ready to win right away, that's fine. But there's no point doing that when you're trying to build a team. Changing the manager every 6 months when you're trying to build a team is not getting you anywhere. Is not getting you anywhere at all. No, I wouldn't do that. You haven't got enough time between now and Wednesday to bring someone in. You simply haven't. That's my opinion. There's so much stuff coming in. I think you just have to carry on. For me personally, I would carry on because of the reasons I've given. We just need some stability. But I it's getting harder and harder to back this. It really is. There's no accountability. Everyone has their excuses, so nothing will change. For me, mate, I stick with what I'm doing, and somehow we have to get to the end of the season and then make a change there. But what they should be doing is looking at other managers now potentially and sounding them out to take over next season at the end of the season. Because I think right now this is not working. This is not working, and unless we have a remarkable turnaround, whether we win a trophy and we maybe finish in the Europa League, which right now is looking difficult, which is still possible, I would stick personally. I'd stick to the end of the season. I think next year we either have to change. What we need is a best thing. We need a proper sporting director, and we need the football structure to change, and that for me is the biggest thing. And then we need to bring in top class professionals that are ready to perform straight away. Somehow we have to get to the end of the season. We simply have to. And if you're not going to sack him before the cup final, there's no point sacking him after it because there's nothing to play for. I would say it depends how we compete. If exactly as you say, if he wins, he'll obviously stay. we lose narrowly and we put up a good fight, he probably stays. But yeah, if we get absolutely humiliated, then yeah, I think it's fair to say that the writing would absolutely be on the wall on that one. Mate, JT's working in the academy. You know, he's like one thing I would say is I don't understand why JT is not involved in the first team setup in some way. Maybe he's been offered and he doesn't want to be, but it doesn't make any sense to not have JT involved in the coaching setup. Yeah, it's long for us. It's long for us. But this is what people are purely saying we should be competing because of the money spent. People aren't thinking about the lack of experience that this side's got, the fact that they're all young and inexperienced, the fact that all these players are new. Like, people aren't taking that into account. People are just purely basing that we should be competing because of the money we've spent. Like, unfortunately, that doesn't work like that anymore in football. Those days have gone where you can just spend money and you could compete. It's very difficult to compete with a brand new team like this from the off. Football just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Yes, we should be doing better than we're doing, absolutely. But to expect us to be competing from the off is just ridiculously unrealistic expectations, unfortunately. I'd be shocked if that happened. I really would be. I don't expect a change to be made before the Wednesday game. I really don't. What else is being said here? We've got decent centre backs. We have decent centre backs, and we don't have a decent system. We really don't. We do have players that can do that. We absolutely do. Pre-season saying this was a 100-point squad. Yeah, I know. The expectations from the owners were completely. They were just miles and miles off it. We fucked. Can't change the process now. We can't spend any money. It's over. It's not over for us, but it's a long way back. There's a long way back to go, and I don't have all the answers. Maybe I don't have any other fucking answers, but it's a problem. We're in big trouble, you know. And unfortunately, the standards do come from the top. You know, they do. And right now, you'd have to say that top standards aren't being set. They're not being set. That's the reality of the situation. Is that it feels like at the top mediocrity is being accepted, and that's unacceptable. That is totally unacceptable. And you've come in as this ownership, and you've set your stall out that you want to go down this route, and you either back what you're doing and accept there's going to be bumps in the road and stick with this manager, or you change your outlook completely and you go down a different route. Because right now you've got a decision to make. You either back what you're doing or you change it. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. What else have we got going on? What we did in pre-season, we haven't played like that. We haven't. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. It's not easy seeing a club like this, but I think it won't be dark days forever. I think we will be back at some point. I don't know when it's going to be. We just have to get through this period. We just have to get through this period somehow. We really do. Yeah, but look at the players they've got though. The manager they've got. You know, the City weren't competing straight away though when they spent. It took them from the takeover. It took City 4 years to win that. They were taken over in 2008, I think, or 2007. It took them 4 years to win their first trophy. It took them 4 years to win the first trophy from that takeover. Newcastle had a very good season last season. Very good season. Top four, and they obviously qualified for the Champions League. And got to the League Cup final. This season, they're struggling. I wouldn't say Newcastle are competing particularly well this season. They're ninth in the table. You know, so yeah, we lack leaders in the team. There's loads and loads of stuff coming in. Let's have a look what else we have got going on here. I just don't. It's just tough, isn't it? It's just tough seeing your team be so shit. every single week. And there's just not really, seemingly, there's not much you can do about it. I don't know what the answers are. But I think it's clear that the biggest problem right now is the policy, the recruitment policy from the ownership and the terrible recruitment from the sporting department. Yeah, Palmer's going to be worth more than we bought him for, but no other player right now is worth any more money than we bought them for. That's the reality. Wolves' first win at Stamford Bridge in 45 years. It's mad. We let Gilmore and Hudson-Odoi go for £15 million combined. Both of them would be in our squad and would make a difference. So yeah, I know it's not about revisionism and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, it's a problem. It's a big problem. I mean, yeah, Tuchel sold Gilmore for what, £9 million? So yeah, but look, guys, I mean, this is tough. Things are bad within Chelsea. I think we all know that. I don't know where we go, people. I do not know where we go from here. But yeah, guys, it's been a long day. I'm gonna round this one out here. I imagine I'll be back with another live stream tomorrow, or definitely a video of some sort to talk more stuff. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate all your support. Thanks for the guys that sent in super chats and donations. Are greatly appreciated. The sun will shine on us again, people. I don't know when it will, but it will. We've got Aston Villa coming up on Wednesday night. That's going to be really fun. But yeah, guys, it's been tough. It's been nice to get everyone's thoughts, air it all out. Thanks so much to everyone that's tuned in tonight. Greatly appreciate all of your support. Big yourselves up, guys. Enjoy what's left of your weekend. Hope you have a good start to the week. I'll catch you lot tomorrow. Things will get better. Big yourselves up. Love the support as always. Peace out. Catch you again soon, people.